r/AskReddit, what's an example of an idea that's terrible on paper but worked brilliantly in reality? Attempting to cure syphilis with malaria. Brilliantly worked is a strecto. The inventor won a Nobel Prize for it too. Gotta love early 19th century medical solutions. Dropping a whole bunch of cats by parachute over Borneo to stop the spread of plague. Did they each have their own little parachute, or were they dropped in large cages with large parachutes? The latter makes more sense, but I really like the visual of the former. I thought you were replying to another comment about not understanding what the musical Cats is about, lol. Sounds parakeet. A plane has crashed in the jungles of New Guinea. 3 survivors have found a village and managed to get communication. There's no way to get an airplane room to land and take off, and helicopters can't make it into the valley. I know. We'll airdrop medical personnel, supplies for a glider, assemble it, and slingshot it into the air. Then, we'll catch it with a tow plane. It worked. New Guinea gremlin crash, link. Putting out oil well fires by blowing them up. Similarly, controlling the spread of forest fires by lighting preemptive fires. So we have this fire that is raging out of control. We've tried everything to put it out. What can we do? So, what if we try explosives? As someone who spent a lot of time around 2005 trying to describe it to some very skeptical people, I would definitely say Wikipedia. Alternative Soviet take, have you tried blowing it out like a candle? No. What if you try to blow it out with 2 jet engines mounted on a tank body? Have you ever heard of the pet rock phenomenon? It sounded absurd to sell rocks as pets. On paper it was a headache, but in reality in the 70s people went crazy about it. Sometimes the craziest ideas spark the most. The guy made $1 million. You know. I had an idea like that once. It was a jump to conclusions mat. You'd have this mat, and on it would be different conclusions that you could jump to. The way they extracted those kids from the cave in Thailand. The diver and anesthesiologist, first off, how fucking lucky to find somebody with that overlap in skills, who was consulted and joined the effort, said it was a terrible idea. It was only when presented with the other options that he realized this terrible idea was truly their best option. They rescued all the kids and their coach successfully. I've met a lot of doctors in scuba. It's not the cheapest of hobbies, so it's generally limited to those of a decent income level. Apparently, shooting fish out of a moving plane into a lake. Similarly, a salmon cannon to shoot salmon past a dam. Hula hoop. You know, for kids. The Sims computer game. It sounds like the stupidest idea ever. Who would want to control a sim character doing all the mundane shit we do every day? How boring. But I played the shit out of The Sims, then the subsequent versions. I can't believe this is so low. There's no reason Wikipedia should work. Yet it's really one of mankind's greatest accomplishments. In this line of thing, a fair number of thing simulator games are sort of that. Ugh, I just finished my exhausting job of driving a truck around town making deliveries. I can finally relax to a nice pleasant game of American Truck Simulator. The fake inflatable tanks in WW2. Is there much evidence the Germans fell for them in any significant capacity? Toast. Hey, let's take something we already finished baking and heat it up again. The person who first came up with it must have sounded crazy. I think toast was invented to make stale bread taste better. It's just an excuse to eat unhealthy amounts of delicious butter. Before modern preservatives, bread went moldy really quickly. People noticed overcooked bread went moldy slower. So they started twice baking, and noticed it tasted different. Curing deadly, previously incurable infections which had historically been responsible for the early demise of billions of people throughout all of human history. With mold. A movie rental company that mails you DVDs. I thought it was the shittiest idea when it first came out, when I could drive 5 minutes to Blockbuster and get whatever I wanted then. I assume that people who lived further away from a rental store were the original target demographic. There was a Hitchhiker's Guide site, H2G2, based on the Douglas Adams books, that had been up and running before Wikipedia came out. It was more fun and loosey-goosey. Then Wikipedia came along and just did it better, but got rid of the fun. Okay, guys, here's my business plan. People will give me perfectly good stuff for free. I'll turn around and sell it for money. Profit. AKA Value Village, or any thrift store in general. Value Village is for profit. Most thrift stores at least have a charitable mission, even if it's one I disagree with. The one I work with donates 50% of proceeds, pays about 11 staff members, and the rest is used for building up and maintaining the store. Edit, a charitable mission most volunteers and customers believe in. A film, based on a true story, about a guy who got his arm stuck under a rock in a cave for 127 hours. Surprisingly watchable. Danny Boyle is a hell of a director/producer. Selling bottled water in places where tap water is both free and better regulated used to be a joke. Personal computers. In the 1970s, the idea of having a personal computer at home was met with skepticism. Many believed that computers were massive machines meant for businesses and institutions. My father is 86 and has increasing dementia. One of his repeated stories about having the first computer at a school. The principal said to him, "What would anybody need a computer for?" That was in about 1979. In a mythical meeting with oil company execs. "Okay, so you take a jet engine." "Yeah." "And mount it on a tank chassis." "Yeah." "And connect that to a huge water supply with high capacity pipes and water pumps." "Yeah." "And use it to put out oil well fires." "Get this idiot out of here." Link. So I'm going make a movie about the 2008 financial crash. / okay. I'm going explain all the jargon and why it happened. Let's drive a car with a GPS and a camera down every street on Earth. Okay, but won't people be bored? Not if I have Margot Robbie explaining, naked, in a bubble bath. Okay, you have my attention. It will be great and it will have Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell, Selena Gomez, and Brad fucking Pitt. Some movie executives, probably. The Big Short is excellent, I have seen it 3 times now. Margin Call is also excellent. Though it has significantly less Margot Robbie. I don't agree with this personally cause I love Bob, but many said that casting Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man was a terrible idea at the time. Rumor has it that the founder of FedEx received a C in college on a paper describing his proposed business. According to the rumor, the professor thought no one would use the service when the post office already provided that service at lower cost. Fiddler on the Roof. It was not an easy pitch. Who wants to go see a play about a bunch of Jewish people from ages ago who get kicked out of a Russian town? That's fun? What, sir? Would you make a ship sail against the wind and currents by lighting a bonfire under her deck? I pray you excuse me, I have no time to listen to such nonsense. Napoleon Bonaparte, regarding the steam engine. Probably those people's grandchildren. It was said about as far in the past as the 1960s are now. Well within living memory. When I was a teenager, I thought The Lion King sounded stupid. Disney had just stormed back into massive relevance with several fairy tales in a row that made bank. Why were they doing some animal story I'd never heard of? I hadn't seen it yet to realize it was kind of Lion Hamlet lol. The Lion King, of course, made money paw over fist. Nobody's going to play your silly little Java game with outdated graphics about digging up blocks. Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Michael Keaton as Batman in the 1989 movie. It was really something watching all the hate when he was announced as the Joker and then everybody's reaction to seeing him in costume. I saw the movie opening night, and everybody fell dead silent every time he was on screen. The whole theater clapped in respect for him after his last scene. Rage Against the Machine. You have a Mexican guy who raps, and another guy who bangs on his guitar with his hands and random tools, and they are going to do political songs. Arguably, rideshare. What? Strangers drive you and they don't even have a medallion. Escape rooms. It sounds silly writing it down on paper that you have to lock yourself in a room and solve puzzles, but IRL it's actually super fun. Blowing powdered smallpox sores up your nose to prevent smallpox. To be fair, steamships were a fad, just a long, successful fad. Wikipedia. In a world with Encyclopedia Britannica and Encarta, funded by giant parent, Microsoft, who comes up with the idea to have people contribute their expertise for free. The classic line about it is literally, it's great in practice but it would never work in theory. Some guys thought people would be interested in renting out their bedrooms to strangers. Airbnb was this born. Airbnb was basically just couchsurfing.com with a payment portal. I used to host strangers for free back in the day in San Francisco. Super fun, meet new people from all over the country, show them around the city. 1 month I had new guests every weekend. My guess would be environmental conditions. Gotta be just right to make the magic happen. How did the moon get there? Why is the surface older than the layers underneath? Why did an impact with it cause vibrations to ring further than 20 miles deep, and paradoxically speed up past 40 miles? I'm not a conspiracy theorist or a wacko, but the moon is suspect. What happened to the McKin girl? Parents? No. The Germans have their man. They did the heavy lifting required in this investigation, the mind-numbing process that was wading through the mountains of cell phone data. Probably gonna get downvoted, but I can't stand scrolling through the annoying jokes until I can actually find something interesting that I can go down a wiki hole on. And they all think they are witty while it is just some reply they saw on a similar question. As a Belgian, I'd say the case of the Brabant killers or the Ben van Nijvel. It's one of the most prolific true crime rabbit holes in Belgian history. Legit. What was Willis talking about? Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again. Reddit glitch out.